up, everyone? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review we're looking at the DC Universe Classics Swamp Thing. I'm pretty sure this was a Comic-Con exclusive. I really hate the character. I don't know why, there's just something about him that I really don't like. So I didn't want to buy him, but BBTS had a sale on him, so I finally picked him up. If you watched my last haul video, you saw it there. So I figured I would review him, even though I really don't care for the character. So he comes in this packaging, which is like fancy, I guess. Although it's really kind of desaturated, it needs some color. It's green and black, but it's really kind of faded looking. It does have these holes in it so you can see through to whatever's inside. You can barely see it though, so there's no point. So let's open it up and take a look. Oh, it does come with some words on the back. If you want to read those, you can pause it and read those, but I wouldn't recommend it because there's nothing interesting. Can't open it from that side because I cut the tape on the bottom, so let's do that. So inside the box we have probably the worst packaging I've ever seen for something special. It's supposed to look like Swamp Thing, and it kind of does. I mean, obviously it does, but it's made out of this stupid blow mold or whatever it is, pressed cardboard stuff. So it looks really, really cheap, especially around the eyes. It's just, I don't even get why they bothered. I don't understand it. It's really cheap looking, so I don't get it. Whatever. Maybe I'm just particularly biased against this figure. It opens up on the back. You just undo these tabs, and it unfolds, and then you have Swamp Thing inside. So let's take him out. He comes with a base, so we can look at that too. And set this ugly cardboard monstrosity away. So here's the base. It's got a broken tree trunk, which, I don't know, the paint makes it look really weird because I've never seen a tree that looked like that. It's way too white looking on the inside. I know trees have light wood, or whatever you call it. I don't know if you call it wood while it's still on the tree, to be honest, but either way, it just looks weird to me. Maybe it's the dark gray, brown, I don't know, it just looks weird. There's tons of dry brushing to make this look a little nicer, which is fine, it looks okay. There's lots of sculpt work. There's a skull and part of a spine down there. I don't know why there'd be a skull in the swamp, a human skull. He's a good guy, I'm pretty sure, and I don't think he kills people, but his base has a skull and a spine, and a snake on the skull with some slime connecting the snake to the skull, I guess. I don't know. Whatever, it's okay, it's a base. It does have a peg right here, and he has a peg right here. So let's see how we can use this base effectively, because Mattel is known for giving us effective bases. Yeah, so it works. He actually stands on the base without his feet hanging off. He has to straddle that log, but that's okay. And it looks nice with him on it. I have to say, it's a decent looking display piece. So that's cool. The figure itself is coated in rubber because he has an underskeleton, except for the hips and shoulders, of course, and the neck. So all of the articulation for this guy is underneath this rubber coating. But the rubber coating, they did a really good job of sculpting it with all these vines, and like, I guess they're vines even though they're brown. And typically you think of vines as being green, but whatever. They're brown, and then there's tons of light green and dark green shading. You have some mushrooms and some flowers. And it just looks pretty good. I mean, for not liking the character, it's an appealing looking character. He's got some spores or sacs of some sort going on back here. And it's cool because the smoother pieces, since it's made out of the rubber, it actually feels smoother than obviously the textured parts. So it's kind of a cool effect. His mouth has some gloss on there to make it look wet. His eyes are nice and red. I do wish he had less of a cone head thing going on. He needs a little more forehead, I think. Maybe the character looks like that in the comics, but I remember him having more of a forehead from when I saw him back when I was a little kid. And I had the glow-in-the-dark Swamp Thing figure. Do you guys remember that? If you remember that, comment in the description, the little 5-inch glow-in-the-dark Swamp Thing. That was one of my favorite figures, even though I didn't like the character. Anyway, as far as articulation goes, he does have standard DCUC articulation. The head goes up and down a little bit. Side to side, no problem. Shoulders are ball hinged, just like standard DCUC. There's no bicep swivel, so that's limited, of course. He does have the elbow hinge. It's not quite the exact same because it's ratcheted to fight against the flexing of the rubber, but it basically is a standard bicep hinge. It works kind of like the Hot Toys with the rubber body molds in that the hinge works underneath, kind of like Hulk, the new Hulk, and it looks pretty cool. They did a good job with that. Wrist articulation does have a hinge right there, and the fingers have none, unfortunately. It would have been cool if they put wire in there. That'd be a nice custom to do. If I had a spare one, I would do it. So you could put some wire in there and give him some articulated fingers. Otherwise, he just has those. The nails are painted glossy, so that's kind of a cool effect. Both sides are the same, so I don't have to do the other side. Does he have an ab crunch? He does. It's very limited, though. Don't expect to get much out of it, and do expect to have little breaks in the rubber if you use it. So I would suggest you don't use it and just leave him standing straight up and down. Standard DCUC hips, they don't quite function the same way, but you get the same range of motion out of them, except they don't go forward too much because of the rubber being in the way. The knees do work, but they're very limited. So I wouldn't stress them too much just because you don't want to break the rubber. And then the ankles are actually pretty good. So they did a good job with the underbody. Toes are just flappy like the hands. So they did a pretty good job. Does he have a waist twist? He does not. They did a good job making this guy, and I don't mind having him because he looks cool. And like I said, they did a pretty good job on him, so I'm okay with it. I'm just a little biased, so just ignore that and get the figure because he's pretty cool. And I think he's still on sale at Big Bad Toy Store. If he's not, then go to eBay. But pretty cool figure, and I guess I do recommend it, especially if you like Swamp Thing. You won't be let down. I don't think I did this yet, so the height, he's taller than a standard DC. He's almost 10 inches tall. So there you go, guys. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more figure reviews, custom figures, and other good stuff. In the meantime, keep collecting.